Hi everybody and welcome back. My name's Alison, the online piano and the online violin tutor. This is my new Learn to Play the Violin book 2, and it is a follow-on from my original violin lessons 1 to 10. They'll be linked directly underneath this video. This book is going to teach you the next stages in your learning, and it is aimed at beginners who have already learned the basics or everything that's in those videos 1 to 10, and you just want to progress on further and properly. It is available to purchase here. There'll be a link just coming up here. I will also put a link directly in the description bar underneath. And like all of my books, this book is 100% downloadable. In other words, it's an ebook. So I printed this out at home using my home printer, and then I just bound it together using my spiral binder. So this book also comes with a songbook too as well. So the 10 pieces in here will contain all of the skills and all the techniques and everything that you will have learned from this book. So if you want to progress on to the next stages in your learning, then grab your copy of the books and let's get going. Okay, so on to lesson 13. Now this is all about the second finger. So there's some information on this page that you need to read about the second finger. I'm not going to go through all that, otherwise this video will be so long. But on the next page, if you look at the diagrams here, there are two places that your finger can go. So I'm going to show you on the violin. So you've got the first finger dots and you've got the third finger dots. And the second finger, like we would have picked up from the scales, the second finger can either go here, which is jammed in right next to the second finger, or next to the first finger, or the second finger can go here, which is right behind the third finger. So it will depend on what key the piece of music is in, what scale you're playing, etc, etc, as to where your fingers go. This is why you need to know those scales. This is why you need to learn and memorize those scales so that you know exactly where your fingers are going. So for example, if you're playing the scale of D major, you will know that you're doing an open D, a normal 1, the second finger is stretched, or it's here right behind the third finger. You'll then do a normal third finger, an open A, a normal 1, another stretched second finger, or second finger next to the third, and finishing off with the third finger. So that's where you need to go for the scale of D major. Now when you're seeing a piece of music and it is in the key of D major, which we would have learnt from one of the previous lessons, the key of D major has two sharps in it, F sharp and C sharp, which are exactly the same sharps that you have in D major scale. Can you maybe start to see the relationship between the scales and the keys now? So when you see a piece of music in D major, i.e. with those two sharps, F sharp and C sharp, you will know that your second finger, when you play an F sharp, has to be here, next to the third finger. You will know that your second finger for a C sharp on the A string also has to be there as opposed to being back. And that's really, really important because it's just going to mean everything. It's just going to mean that you're actually physically playing the wrong notes. So generally the first finger at the moment, the first finger will stay on the line, the third finger will stay on the line, and we're just talking about the second finger changing depending on the note. Okay, so on the next page I've got a question test 4, and that's just basically all about mostly the scales and the sharps and flats and things. So this is going to test whether you guys have been reading and listening. So the answer to that is going to be at the back of the book. And what I've done here, I know I probably keep going on about it and I know I keep regurgitating the same information, but it's just necessary to do that because it's not something that I can just say once and you guys are going to go, oh yeah, got it. It doesn't quite work that way. It's just, I like to say it in so many different ways and relate it to so many different things at so many different times that you guys can really understand it. So on this page here, you will see that I've drawn like a little kind of violin finger chart there. And that's just really to show you where the notes are. Every teacher, it says here, every teacher has their own methods of teaching, and I just use the word stretched and back. So stretched means that your second finger is going to be next to your third finger, and back, it's because it feels like it's stretched. Back is where your second finger is closer to the peg, so away from you, because it feels like you're just going back, I guess. And stretched is where your fingers are coming closer to you because it feels like you've just got a massive stretch between the first finger and the second finger. So everybody does it differently. That's just the way that I do it and the way that I explain it in this book. So as long as you guys are down with that, you'll know what I'm talking about. Okay, and then right at the bottom, this is probably worth mentioning. It says here that it's better to learn this chart as you play the scales, not just kind of sitting there learning the chart. So what I've kind of done in a nutshell is written down all the scales on the left here and exactly where your fingers kind of need to go. Mostly the second fingers and things like that, which is most important. So I don't know, some people may or may not find that little bit helpful. If you don't find that helpful, that's fine. Just ignore it, move on to the next bit. But if you do find that helpful, it might just help to reaffirm some information. I don't know, I just thought it might be helpful for some of you, but if you guys don't find it helpful, that's fine. Everybody learns in a completely different way. So that's it for lesson 13, quite short and quite sweet, but still some very crucial information, and I will see you in lesson 14.